If you're a regular on my YouTube channel, you know that I believe very strongly that we are repeating the surge in the digital revolution as a result of artificial intelligence, and I think it's going to expand the digital revolution into a whole new level, and there are going to be some companies that are going to drive us through that, much as was a handful of companies that drove us through the digital revolution. So I put together what I chose to call my Bus 13, Best of Us, and it had 13 stocks in it. And one of those stocks was C3AI. Why did I choose to put it in it? I subscribe to a guru, and I share that information with my members of our Discord. And he was very high on it. So I looked into it, and I found a lot of other people very high on it. I did a search on it. It has a tremendous history of giving you good return. And what I didn't do was look into the CEO and some of the past history that wasn't readily available. So I get an email from Brian. He's a member of our tribe. And he lives in Nashville. I've met with him, had lunch with him several times, and he says, Kerry, you need to look at this. And it was a video from a CNBC report on C3AI. As a result of that, on Saturday, this past Saturday, I notified my tribe members that I would be selling C3AI on Monday morning at whatever price it was going for. So with that in mind, I want to share with you what Brian shared with me and show you how this whole thing works, how we have a portfolio, Bus 13, that is concentrated on what I believe is the next digital revolution. But I want to emphasize, this is not financial advice.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Griegmeyer.
Okay, let's start by looking at this chart. And this is a chart that goes back to the start of 2023 on C3AI. And as you can see, on December the 28th, it was selling at $10.16 a share. It had some gigantic movements up until May the 3rd, and that's kind of near where I got into it. Actually, I got into it on May the 17th, and it was at $17.02. As I say, I got in on May the 17th at $24.75, and then by May 30th, it was up to $44.32, a substantial gain. And then today, it's down to $30.50. And I think it's because I don't think it's because, I know it's because some things have come out about how the CEO and the company has become something of a bad actor. And it has been substantiated by some of their past and current employees. So I want to share with you what Brian sent me and what opened my eyes and caused me to let my tribe know I was getting out with a decent profit over the period of time that I held it. So let's take a look at this, and you see what you think.
Competing in the artificial intelligence revolution, California billionaire Tom Siebel
AI has all of a sudden become king.
and his company C3AI, trading under the ticker AI on the New York Stock Exchange. Shares of the company tripled earlier this year on the hype around AI.
We seem to be the name of the game.
But there are also allegations Siebel has misrepresented his company.
This is about a company that used smoke and mirrors to go public.
Reed Cathrine, who previously represented investors in reaching a settlement against Theranos, is now behind a new investor lawsuit against C3.ai, alleging the company misled investors that it had access to a 12,000-person sales organization as part of its partnership with Houston-based energy technology company Baker Hughes, a C3.ai client that uses its AI solutions and sells the product to companies in the oil and gas industry. The first instance being in a pre-IPO filing that said we are jointly marketing and selling with the active engagement of Baker Hughes, which has a 12,000-person sales organization. At an interview in C3.ai's headquarters, Siebel stood by his statements about the size of the sales force.
Did you say the 12,000 people were working with Baker Hughes to sell the C3.ai product?
I believe it's on the order of 12,000.
On a call, you said in partnership with Baker Hughes, we have 12,000 people selling every single day into the oil and gas industry. And that was said about 13 times within that year.
I'm not certain what the number is today. Okay, it was represented to us at one point in time, those 12,000. I'm not certain what the number is today.
The lawsuit says the publicity about the massive Baker Hughes sales force artificially inflated C3's stock. Siebel and other insiders took advantage of this by selling more than 11 million shares.
As you can see, this is kind of almost a nonsense lawsuit that is going on, in that it's over whether this company has 12,000 employees selling or assisting in the sale of C3.ai software, or they don't. And it's brought by a short seller who felt that the company lied in some of their publicity. I think that's nonsense. I think it will go away. But then I want you to see this too.
There are questions over C3's relationship with Baker Hughes, not just the sales force, but about C3's unbilled receivables, meaning money that's owed but has not yet been paid. Baker Hughes, one of C3's biggest customers, has the highest amount of unbilled receivables, over 91% in the quarter that just ended. Now, I asked Siebel about this. He said he has no concerns over Baker Hughes' payment plan. Also worth noting, in April, Baker Hughes announced it divested 1.7 million C3.ai shares. Despite the optics of this, Brian, Baker Hughes says its commitment to C3.ai remains the exact same.
So the way I see all this was that C3 and Tom Siebel, the CEO, made an agreement with Baker Hughes that you will be our sales force for this extraordinary product, and exclusively within the oil fields and oil and gas elements. So, and they scheduled that C3 would get regular monthly payments in anticipation of the sales, but in that they could put on their books, but it would be an uncollected receivable. That's kind of a screwy way to run accounting, but what it ended up doing is they put it in as sales, even though they hadn't billed it, because Baker hadn't sold it. And thus, their sales looked substantially larger than what they actually were. Tom Siebel actually came out pre-quarterly report saying that we had these sales and they were actually non-billed receivables. So the sales didn't happen, but they were pre-booked. And that's why you saw the drop from May the 30th to June the 3rd. So how do I feel about this? Tom Siebel is not the kind of guy I want to do business with. And that's what I kind of look at this and say, if I knew this and Tom came to me and said, we'd like to work with you in some capacity, and I realized he was booking sales and reporting them to sales to analysts when they actually didn't happen and they hadn't received the money, I'd say this guy is a smoke and mirrors. He's a magician. He's not the kind of CEO that I want to work with. And that's why I sold the stock. And that's why unless something comes out that totally convinces me this guy is for real, this isn't a CEO that I want to deal with. And then I learned that he actually has changed the name of his company 3 times to basically adapt to whatever was hot. You'll see this.
Well, part of the mystery around this company is that it has undergone many, many name changes to correspond with what's hot in the market at that time. In 2009, it was founded as C3 Energy up until 2016 when it changed to C3 IoT. Brian, I'm sure you remember when Internet of Things had a brief moment in the sun. And then in 2019, C3 IoT rebranded to what we now know as C3 AI.
What's the lesson to be learned here for you? I have a tribe. I have a group of people who have come together and said, let's work on this AI opportunity together. Let's do our research. And Kerry, you will be where we will funnel it into, and you'll share it with us through our Discord and through our Bus 13 portfolio. And what I do is every time I make a change in the Bus 13 portfolio, I put it up on the Discord. Now, that will eventually be a part of our website, which for those of you who aren't comfortable with a Discord, by hopefully mid-July, we'll have all this information on a more conventional website, as well as it will be a educational website for everything financial planning. That's my background. I was the leading financial advisor for the Ameriprise system back in the 2000s. I sold it in 2005, and my story goes on from there. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I would rather say we're doing. What I want to do, though, is invite you to be a part of it. I want you to invite you to get on the bus and come join us in our pursuit of what I think is going to be the best investment opportunity in my lifetime. And you must remember, I'm 78 years old, so there have been some tremendous investment opportunities, probably the biggest one of which was the digital revolution, and I think this will top it, just because it's, as I said, if you understand artificial intelligence, up until the computer age and AI, you basically had the benefit of one person's mind, who you were talking to. You now have all the data that has been collected and accumulated over the last 40 years at your disposal. And what's happening right now is these AI companies are building the structure by which they can provide it to you to make better decisions in every aspect of your life, whether it's investing, it's in medical, it's in legal, it's in traveling to Mars, it's in solar energy. Every aspect of our life is going to change. I was with a dear friend this weekend, and he said, I'm worried about this world. And I turned to David and said, I'm as excited as I can be. I just hope I live long enough to see what I believe is going to be a revolution of our way of dealing with each other, dealing with other countries, and we will be able to harvest the fruits of this earth and all enjoy them comfortably. That's my thought for the decade. I'll talk to you more about that in the future.